Algebra 2, section 6-4, nth roots. So let's look at kind of an example. Here's our radical. I'm going to put a little n right here. Now this sign here is the radical sign. This guy inside the radical sign is called the radicand. And we're gonna draw a chart down here, and so we're gonna be using A as the radicand. And then N here is the index number. All right, so let's talk about some rules. And these rules are on page 408 in your book, just in case. N, for all of these rules, N is an integer, meaning not a fraction, integer greater than 1. So N is an integer greater than 1, meaning it is not a fraction and it is not negative. And A, which is the radicand, is a real number. So these need to be true for these rules to apply. All right, we're going to draw this. All right, so we're going to, N is even, and N is odd. So that's what our, here's our chart. So if A is greater than 0, then you're going to have one positive and one negative real root. And so it's going to look like plus or minus and A, like that. If N is odd, you're going to have one positive and 0 negative real roots. Let's keep moving here, and once we get this chart done, then we'll have some examples, and hopefully this will kind of make sense. So then we've got A is less than 0, and then we're also going to have A is equal to 0. So when A is less than 0, you've got 0 real roots. If N is even, if the index number is even. If the index number is odd, then you're going to have 0 positive roots, but 1 negative real root. And when A equals 0, when the radicand is 0, you've got 1 real root, and the square root, or whatever the root of 0, is 0. Same thing if N is odd. 1 real root, and it is 0. All right, we've got this whole thing filled out. Let's see if we can put this to use now. So we're going to simplify. We've got plus or minus the square root of 16y to the 4th. Okay, so we have to remember back to algebra here. there are several ways that we can go about thinking about this. So we can say this is 4 times 4, and then circle the 4's. So that 4 times 4, I can take a 4 out. The square root of 16 is 4. And now let's look at these y's. This is y times y times y times y. And so I've got 2 y's and 2 y's, which brings me to y times y. After the square root of y squared is y, the square root of y squared is y, so y times y is y squared, plus or minus y squared is your answer there. Multiply. Okay, let's try some more here. Let's do negative square root of x squared minus 6 to the 8th power. Now for this one, I'm going to ignore what's inside here right now. This isn't going to help me with what I'm doing. I'm just going to look at this 8th power here. And so if I could rewrite this as 8 of these, x squared minus 6, and circle every 2, and or I can just say this is the square root of x squared minus 6 to the 8th power, and I can say 8 divided by 2, because this is the square root, and I end up with a negative x squared minus 6 to the 4th power. So the 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Let's do another one. The square root of the square root of x to the 8th power. Okay, so we can go 8 divided by 2 is 4, and so our answer is going to be x to the 4th. Now, let's look at this a little bit more in depth here, because we can say this is x to the 8th power, so the 8 goes in the numerator, and then this would be a 2 here because this is the square root, goes here. So it could be, we could rewrite it as x to the power of 8 over 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and so we get our answer here is 4. Let's do one more example, and I'll have you guys do some on your own. The 5th root of 243, a to the 20th, b to the 25th. Okay, so this is the 5th root. Now, 243 is 3 to the 5th power. If you were to plug this into your calculator, this is 3 to the 5th power. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, so I end up with 3 as my coefficient there. 20 divided by 5 is 4, a to the 4th. 25 divided by 5 is 5, b to the 5th. Okay, you try a couple here. Plus or minus the square root of 36x to the 10th power and the 3rd root of 27 a to the 12th, c to the 21st. Okay, go ahead and pause and see what you can do on those two. Okay, let's see how you did. So I've got 36 here, and I'm doing the square root of these this term here. So 36 is 6 squared, and so 2 divided by 2 is 1. So the square root of 36 is 6. So plus or minus that, plus or whatever is out here in front stays. So I've got 6, and then x, 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that's that you try. Let's try this one now. 27 is 3 to the third power, so the cubed root of 27 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4, so a to the fourth. 21 divided by 3 is 7, c to the seventh. All right, one more example and a couple more u-tries. The fourth root of y to the fourth. Now this is tricky, and this is actually the absolute value of y. Because this could be negative, whatever the number is, could be negative, or it could be positive. And so we have this possibility. We need to say the absolute value of y is this. And I'm not going to worry about this on the test. Some of the answers might look like this. I'm not going to worry about this. I probably should because I'm a math teacher or whatever, but I'd rather not. So you will see this in the homework and stuff, that you have this absolute value here. I'm actually not really worried about it. Don't worry about it too much, okay? All right, you try. The sixth root of 64 times x squared minus 3 to the 18th power. And another you try. The fourth root of 16 times x minus 3 to the 12th power. Okay, do these two u-tries. Don't worry about this absolute value stuff. I just wanted you to see it. Okay, go. All right, let's see how you did. Now this one, the sixth root of 64, this doesn't come to me super easily, so I'm gonna factor this. So this is 2 times 32, 2 times 16, 2 times 8, 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so this is 64 is 2 to the 6th power. That's what 64 is. So that means 2 is the number that's associated with this. Now, I'm going to ignore this x squared minus 3, remember? Just do 18 divided by 6, which is 3. So I have x squared minus 3 to the third power. And that is my answer. Let's look at this one. The fourth root of 16, that's got to be 2, right? 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Right, so 2 to the fourth root is 16. So that means the fourth root of 16 is 2. And I multiply that by x minus 3 to the 12 divided by 4, which is 3, third power. And that is all we have for 6-4, nth roots.